إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم. I'm filling in for someone, so I do fully expect that you will forgive my very obvious shortcomings. I'm just a student of the Quran, a brother in faith, offering you what is really a perspective from a personal journey. But today, I want to speak to your heart. I want to talk to you about our relationship with Allah, a relationship which is necessarily through the heart. Relationships are journeys. This is the only journey that we can undertake in which the partner is constant, consistent, and unchanged. The transformation on this journey is entirely ours, and it's ours to keep. Unlike any other gain in life, which eventually fades in form or meaning, this one is accretive. This one grows. Relationships give cause for expectations. But for this one, it is always important to remember and realize that the worship of God does not enhance God. It enhances and enriches the worshipper. Contrary to how we translate sabbih as in tasbih, we do not ever glorify Allah. We contemplate His glory. We do not ever elevate Allah. We elevate our own understanding of Him and thereby elevate our own souls. By realizing the hand of Allah in our lives and in our being, we, the deputies on earth, do not just find a mission, we also find a meaning to life. And I will offer that we try to ascertain a meaning and a value to death. Ya ayyuhan nas Antumul fuqara ilallah wallahu huwal ghaniyul hamid. O mankind, it is you who are the needy, dependent upon Allah. Allah, He is the one who is self-sufficiently independent, worthy of praise. So this relationship with Allah is one for our own empowerment. We have nothing to give. We are only the beneficiaries. What is the medium of this relationship? It is a wanting heart. It is an earnest heart. It is an open heart. It is a heart that is ready to trust its own intellect. It is often said that you cannot change a person's substance. You can only change his style, or a person never changes his substance, he only changes his style. That is true when the influences are external. But when the change is from the inside, it is the substance of the person that changes. And we are reminded in Quran 22:46 that true blindness is of the heart. فَإِنَّهَا لَا تَعَامَ الْأَبْصَارُ وَلَكِنَّا تَعَامُ الْقُلُوبِ الَّتِي فِي الصُّدُورِ. So for their lack of realization, it is not the eyes that go blind, but the hearts at their core which go blind. And again in Araf 100, the Quran says, Allah says, if you were to seal their hearts, they will not be able to hear. So our intellect on the spiritual plane really belongs to the heart. And what about the heart which rejects this relationship, which is always on offer? وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى. And whoever turns away from my remembrance, a sure consequence for him is a myopic existence, and we shall gather him blind on the day of resurrection. So in spiritual parlance, intellect belongs to the heart. The mind is not adept at understanding or embracing what we call ghaib, but the heart is. So what is the intellect of the heart is what we call tadabbur. The intellect of the heart is what we call, the intellect of the mind is what we call tafakkur. And the intellect of the heart, as I said, is tadabbur. So what is the difference between these two intellects? The kalima, which is the threshold of the pathway to Islam, is the best vehicle to understand this difference. The kalima has two parts. The first part is negation. The second is affirmation, la ilaha. That's the negation. Illallah, that is the affirmation. The mind, when it is engaged, is enough to slay the false gods. Remember when Abraham saw the fading stars and the setting sun and the moon? His mind reasoned that that was too phenomenal to be their own cause. And when the mind was done assailing or slaying the false gods, it was the heart that stepped in and said, Rabbul Alameen, which became Rabbi until he became Khalilullah. The Quran informs the mind and it invites the heart. La tudrikuhul absar wa huwa yudrikul absar wa huwa al-latiful khabir. No vision can capture him, whereas he captures all visions. He is unfathomable, all aware. God cannot be grasped by the mind. He can only be embraced by the heart. When the heart seeks, everything, whether it is small or grand, becomes an ayat, a sign, a pointer, and all pointers point to the one. Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, his leap of faith from the ayat in the sky to Rabbul Alameen was something that Allah Himself enabled. Allah is the enabler of this relationship because God, Allah, is native to the heart. Your hearts have all witnessed Him. There was no exception when you were asked the question, Alastu bi Rabbikum. And as I said, tadabbur is from the heart. And I can't say it better than Maulana Rumi himself, who says, only from the heart can you touch the sky. Remember the recurring objection in the Quran, where the disbelievers say, why does he not come to us with a sign? By the inference that it's the heart that goes blind and it's the heart that goes mute, one has to understand that the intellect of the heart was missing in the mix of their intellect. Ayat, when they are specific in Arabic, they are mubayyana. But as the mubayyana ayat tell us, as the Quran tells us, signs are everywhere. and all pointers point to the same primary source. A scientist peering into a microscope who discovers a micro-universe inside a micro-universe is finding or is being pointed to by the signs of Allah. A scientist peering into the skies and he finds a macro-universe outside the macro-universe. These are signs of Allah. You are the sign of Allah. You are His handiwork. I am the sign of Allah. I am His handiwork. He that is a non-Muslim is a sign of Allah. He that I am quick to call a kafir is a sign and a handiwork of Allah. You think this is not real? You think this is pet Sufi talk? No, it's not. وَلِلَّهِ الْمَشْرِقُ وَالْمَغْرِبُ فَأَيْنَمَا تَوَلُّوا فَسَمَّا وَجْهُ اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَاسِعٌ عَلِيمٌ. To Allah belong the east and the west. Wherever you turn, there is assuredly the face of God. God is infinite and forever complete in His knowledge. I therefore offer you that when the heart has gotten a scent of the truth, free of falsity and free of assailable dogma, the mind too aligns itself with the heart. It is now humbled with how little it knows from how much there is to be known. So let me also offer this perspective, that man was meant to seek and discover. Man, don't make this mistake, man is not ever an inventor. He is a discoverer, and nature allows and encourages him to discover. What we call inventions are merely our leveraging of our discoveries. We did not invent pi. You young people, I've even forgotten 2.142, whatever that it was. It was there to be discovered. We did not invent the speed of light. It was there to be discovered. We did not invent the property of semiconductors. It was there to be discovered. We leveraged it. The heart knows that God put it out there to be discovered. So I offer this to that heart. Rabbul Alameen is also Rabbi wa Rabbukum. God, the same God, Rabbul Alameen. He is the Rabb of all realms, but He is also your Rabb and my Rabb and everyone else's Rabb. Rabbul Alameen is the realization, or should be at the root of our fear for Him and our reverence for everything that He has created. Rabbi wa Rabbukum. This realization must be at the root of our intimacy with Him and tolerance and respect for His creatures. Need I tell you that the heart is moved more by love than it is by fear? And here is a Hadith Qudsi from Ibn Arabi's Mishkat al-Anwar, Hadith number 13. God, ever mighty and majestic, says, I am present in my servant's thought. I am present in my servant's thought of me, and I am with him when he beseeches me. That is how personal and intimate your relationship is with your Rabb. The relationship of Moses with Allah was not the same as the relationship of Khidr with Allah. Their God was unmistakably one. Khidr had one channel to Allah. Moses had another channel to him. And don't forget, the young men of the cave, they had their own channel. There are as many relationships with Allah as there are human hearts. As a way of understanding for the mind, as a way of understanding, the personal relationship with one God is on the vertical plane. This is where we, having realized that we are fully exposed to Him, we learn to be introspective and take stock of ourselves, of our own faults, and ask for forgiveness. This is where we learn to be grateful for the renewal He gives us. This plane is between Allah and His slave. And because Allah is God over all, irrespective of whether others believe that or not, we as Muslims deem ourselves accountable to Him for our behavior towards all. Because we know, it is our belief that He is God over all. This is the horizontal plane. This is where we must be just and fair, kind and compassionate to all His creation. This is where we learn to forgive others so that there is forgiveness for us on the vertical plane. But don't take me wrong, one plane does not exist without the other. We cannot ignore one attribute of Allah and just choose the other. But the point I'm trying to make is that the zikr of Allah is the vertical plane. Zikr is at a personal and intimate level, known and knowable only to Allah and the Zakir. Zikr means to find Allah present in our lives, in what we intend, in what we do, and what we do not do. The quality of our relationship with Allah is based on the quality and constancy of our consciousness of His presence. Nothing distracts a lover from the beloved. Rumi's falcon was always attentive to his master. The contemplation of the attributes of Allah is an aspect of zikr. The salat is an aspect of zikr. Respecting His creation is an aspect of zikr. Finding Allah present in our relationship with our spouse is an aspect of zikr. Realizing that Allah is present in any human interaction is an aspect of zikr. And yes, to open the heart to all these aspects, the Quran itself is the enabler. I'd said earlier in my khutbah that the zikr of Allah is a process without end. Only openings, exponential openings. 2 doors beyond every open door. Just as His garden, His paradise, where each garden leads to 2 other gardens. Zikr offers bewilderment. Here in our lives, when we are bewildered, the heart and a harmonious mind realize that the only appropriate culmination is a sajda. It was not my intent today to draw a lesson from my khutbah. That would imply that I know too much or I know more than you. I said at the outset, I'm a student of the Quran. So to conclude this khutbah and not the topic, let me offer something which I find worth pondering. We all know this verse of Al-Hashr 59:21, which reminds us of the magnitude and the consequence and the scope of the Quran. لَوْ أَنزَلْنَا هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ عَلَى جَبَلٍ لَرَأَيْتَهُ خَاشِعًا مُتَصَدِّعًا مِنْ خَشْيَةِ اللَّهِ وَتِلْكَ الْأَمْثَالُ نَضْرِبُهَا لِلنَّاسِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. Now hear this. أَتَّبِعُوا مَا أُنزِلَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا مِنْ دُونِهِ أَوْلِيَاءَ قَلِيلًا مَا تَذَكَّرُونَ. Follow, O believers, that was sent down upon you from your Rabb, and do not follow protectors besides Him. Seldom do you ponder. Did you note The first one was, if he had sent this Quran down upon a mountain, it would have imploded. The second one is that we have sent this, the Quran has been sent down upon you. This you is plural. It includes you and it includes me. It's not an extraneous plural. It is not what grammarians like to call a min zaida or a kum zaida. We need to ponder this. But I would be remiss if I didn't point to you that this revelation is for us. And our zikr in Allah and our relationship with Allah must be anchored here. The trail of the scent of the truth starts here. أقولي قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين. So before the pause, I had referenced the ayah from Surah Hashr, that the Quran is revelation upon us. The Prophet received it and delivered it to us. For us to have the Quran in our hearts, some of us, and the Musaf on our bookshelves and the Musaf ebook in our iPads, the Messenger of Allah had to struggle 23 years. This chosen man is precisely what the Quran declares him to be. Rahmatul lil Alameen, the bearer of mercy in all realms, the realm of time and zaman, the realm of place and maqam, the realm of now and eternity. Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi, ya ayyuhallazina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. When I started my khutbah, I had offered that the relationship with Allah gives a meaning to life and a reason for death. I'd also said that the zikr of Allah is to find Allah present. To a zakir, death is the homeward journey to the real presence of Allah. Allah's presence is paradise itself. Being abandoned by Allah for our own unconsciousness of Him is nothing but hell. May God protect all of us and guide all of us. Aqimus salah.